Thank you, Terry. One more remarkable coincidence is that the Chronicle felt compelled to publish 3 huge stories about the girls, spreading this throughout the community. And a remarkable coincidence that our local labor unions felt compelled to donate to their headstone, to the memorial, collectively the largest source of cash donations, and we owe a great deal to our local labor unions for that. For the huge role in workplace safety that these girls played. We didn't know about that 100 years ago, but we know about that today. And to find out more about it, may I introduce the man who ignited that substantial labor union participation, our friend, Bob Guenther.
Well, it's my pleasure to see all of you folks here supporting labor and supporting workers. But I also would like to acknowledge that we have the leading officers of the Washington State Labor Council here with us today. Lynn Dodson, Secretary-Treasurer. Lynn, thank you. And I also would like to introduce the new president of the Washington State Labor Council, Jeff Johnson. And Jeff, would you come up and say a few words for us? And thank you again for all being here on this beautiful day.
Well, thank you very much, Bob. Thank you, John, and brothers and sisters, ladies and gentlemen. It's good to be here today to share a few thoughts with you. First off, I want to thank Bob Guenther and Pete Lamont and the Thurston-Lewis-Mason Central Labor Council for bringing this history back to life for the labor movement. This was a history that we had forgotten as well, so thank you so much. So as you heard from our last speaker, 100 years ago, something very tragic happened here as 8 young women, 8 young workers, the girls of Chehalis, died in an explosion at the Imperial Powder Company. And this was tragic because these young women barely had time to get a taste out of life. It was also an extraordinary event because while their deaths were needless, while their deaths were tragic, their deaths also served a purpose, no less than the 146 young women, young workers who died in the Triangle Shirtwaist Factory in 1911 in New York City. Their deaths as well contributed to an aggressive push in this state and around the country to form the first worker compensation laws and aggressive safety and health laws to protect workers at the workplace. Now, ironically, as John was working to refurbish this cemetery and found this gravesite, again, ironically, it came at a time in our country where once again safety and health laws were being largely ignored, and we faced tragic deaths both in the country as well as Washington State, in the form of 11 workers who died on an oil rig in the Gulf of Mexico at the Deepwater Horizon Company, where we faced 29 workers losing their lives in the Massey Upper Big Branch coal mine in West Virginia. And in both of those instances, safety devices had been disconnected, so workers were not warned of the impending doom. And then in our own state, just last year at the Tesoro oil refinery up in Anacortes, we lost 8 brothers and sisters, again, to a needless tragedy for which the company was fined for willful violations of safety and health laws. So what I'd like to say to you today on behalf of the Washington State Labor Council, in the name of the girls of Chehalis, in the name of the Thurston-Lewis-Mason Central Labor Council, we pledge to you today that we will do our best to push for the strongest health and safety laws, the strongest enforcement of those laws as we can with your help. Thank you so much.